The Terminal List, Dark Wolf Episode 7 Recap. Edwards refused to rest when Haverford called him a traitor. Months after the airfield combat and Bering's sale, he is residing in a makeshift home in a secluded farmhouse in Germany, sheltered behind a wall of technological encryption, and plotting a reaction to Haverford selling out the team via chat with Tal Varon. Cyrus, Jed's Iranian conspirator, will dispatch someone to murder Ben once he appears on the grid so they can regain the bearings. They have this in their play. Ben wreaks havoc on a group of incoming gunmen with a variety of makeshift weapons as Tal performs the sinister magic of signals interception. IEDs and propane tanks, anti-personnel mines constructed with bolts and screws, and a booby-trapped house that eliminates half the bad guys while he makes his way through hand-dug tunnels to his second and third firing positions. We liked the touch of him doing all of this to drag on too many Marlboro Reds and a scratchy vinyl copy of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Although he has accepted his fate as a warrior, sending Amy, his most recent wife, a one-line divorce email that reads, "Sorry I never made it home," Ben has always had two wolves, one of whom is wearing a drug rug and drinking beer on a boat. He has to divert these guys long enough for Tal to intercept the electronic products related to Haverford's offenses against the United States. He throws grenades while he tends to a terrible gunshot wound in his side as he arrives at his last location, a sandbagged foxhole on a wooded hill. They're getting closer. This isn't how the chief is leaving, is it? At least not according to James Reece and a couple of Alpha team members. After Reece was made aware of Ben's behavior by Muhammad Farouk, the off-duty SEALs arrived to assist a brother. The scene where Reece drives his Winkler combat axe into villains' necks is reminiscent of the Terminal List. In order to wrap up loose ends and expose Jed's betrayal, the Dark Wolf climax then cuts back and forth between Germany, Tehran, Tel Aviv, Istanbul, and CIA headquarters in Virginia. Ben first pays homage to Eliza's memory by giving her daughter in Israel her wrist bracelet and the collection of British soldier poet Wilfred Owen's writings. Mo then pays homage to Eliza in a different way by placing a bomb on Cyrus Rahimi's vehicle. Last but not least, Haverford is enjoying his retirement from the CIA and playing golf when he gets to his horse farm and discovers a bearded guest brandishing his own rifle at him. "I wanted to know when you would arrive." Jed Haverford, the sly spy to the end, goes back to his defense of the entire situation, which includes the bombing of Marines in Beirut in 1983 and America's long-running shadow war with Iran. Jed continues to support arming a nuclear-armed Iran, demonstrating how far down his own secret activities rabbit hole he has fallen. Ben's endgame plan to expose Haverford explained. In order to track Haverford down, Ben needed to put himself back on the grid so that Tal could pinpoint Haverford's location by getting through his VPN. Knowing that Haverford would be tracking the attack on Ben, Tal had what she needed to use her advanced hacking skills to find him and acquire the evidence that exposed Haverford as an American traitor. This is why Ben had to hold off the armed assailants for 15 minutes and keep the firefight going to ensure that Haverford was still tracking the assailants for the complete duration. If Ben had struck too early or aggressively, then Tal would have lost Haverford's signal, since he would no longer be tracking combat that was already over. Landry and Mo come in to take out two of the key players, Artem and Cyrus, in the Iranian nuclear dealings with Haverford. Cyrus orchestrated the plan with Haverford to deliver actual nuclear bearings to the Iranian Prime Minister, Youssef Saad, in Dark Wolf Episode 6. Artem was a middleman and financier of the Quds force. Ben checkmates Haverford by dropping a file of evidence on the table as the police sirens start approaching. Tal accessed Haverford's treasonous messages with Iran and has proof that he coordinated the Quds force attack on Ben and his team in Germany that nearly took Mo's life. In addition to this, Haverford admits to hiring the assassin who placed the car bomb on Ben's car. Ben was the target, but Eliza's blood is on Haverford's hands. Ben spares Haverford's life so that he won't be honored with a star at the CIA headquarters in Langley. He'll spend the rest of his days disgraced and remorseful behind bars. Why Haverford wanted to make Iran a nuclear threat. Haverford and Cyrus talk about how Iran's relationship with the United States might become stronger and more stable if it became a nuclear powerhouse in Dark Wolf Episode 6. By having the bearings but doing nothing with them, Cyrus would declare world peace and become a national hero. He only gave Cyrus and the Iranians this false viewpoint to give the impression that he supported them. In actuality, Haverford sought to elevate Iran to the status of a nuclear danger to the West in order to impose war on the United States and its ally Israel. Because Iran has been the only source of support for American war catastrophes, he is angry. As the 58,000 Marines killed in Vietnam and the 1983 bombing of a Marine barracks in Lebanon, which led to the highest number of Marine deaths in a single day since World War II. These widespread American defeats serve a justification for Haverford's belligerent policies. He accuses Iran of being solely to fault for these catastrophes and is upset with the United States for not using full military force in response. The battle he had been waiting for his entire life would have begun if he had given Iran nuclear weapons, first through Israel and then the United States. Ben Edwards ventures down a new path in the Terminal List, Dark Wolf finale. When Haverford arrives home that evening, Ben is already there and waiting for him. The spymaster's justification for the entire plot is shocking, even if he isn't shocked. Haverford cites his experience in Vietnam as the reason he attempted to establish a nuclear Iran when Ben queries him about it. Behind every single outlaw, there was one benefactor, Iran, he says. He speaks fiercely about how the United States never actually done anything about Iran and claims that America's passivity taught them that terrorism is effective. Ben understands that Haverford intended to instigate an Israeli-Iranian conflict. Haverford acknowledges that he was the one who attempted to have been assassinated in Zurich and clarifies that he and Ben are the same. Ben discloses that Haverford would be imprisoned for life after Tal was able to establish a case against him based on his correspondence with Cyrus. When the police arrive, Ben leaves Haverford and heads to the George Bush Center for Intelligence to talk to the director of CIA. Fans of the original Jack Carr novels will undoubtedly remember Hank Dasher Dashna, played by Pablo Schreiber, Ben's old acquaintance, who wants to work with him on a new project. Dasher hands Ben his card, which has the following tagline, "We deal in lead, friend." Guys like us weren't meant to walk the earth, Ben, Dasher says in an attempt to persuade Ben to join. We were supposed to set it on fire. The next time we see Ben, he is at Langley taking a lie detector exam, indicating that he is more receptive to the talk than he appears to be. He acknowledges cooperating with Mossad and murdering German intelligence personnel and Al-Jabouri. Ben's response to the question of why he is applying for this new role at the CIA is, "Because I belong here." The Terminal List, Dark Wolf Season 1 ending explained, where Ben goes from here. In The Wolf You Feed, the 7th episode of the Terminal List, Dark Wolf, Ben pins Haverford for his treacherous nuclear connections with Iran. When all is said and done, Ben and his team members, Tal, Mo, and Landry, are able to clear their names, and they are given the chance to join the CIA's prestigious ground branch. James Reese, played by Chris Pratt, also returns in the Terminal List, Dark Wolf Season 1 finale. This is his first appearance since the Dark Wolf debut episode. The sequel's main focus was Ben's past following his dishonorable discharge from the Navy SEALs, but there are still many unsolved mysteries that build up Dark Wolf Season 2. The fact that Reese and half of Alpha Platoon, including Boozer, played by Jared Shaw, saved Ben was possibly the most shocking revelation in the Terminal List, Dark Wolf Season 1 finale. Given what we know about Ben's involvement in the cover-up and conspiracy that started with Alpha Platoon's deadly ambush in the Terminal List, these facts in Dark Wolf heighten the